Hi everyone, Makalesi here, and I was just here with my dog at the park, and we're about to go for a walk just because I have the day off. But I had this I thought, and I was like, oh, I should do a video about this. And in this thought, I was talking about how in life there's everything is finite, right? And what I mean by finite is right now in the reality that we have, there's limitations, and the limitations is based on like it's not infinite, so that's why we have structure, because there's finite, so there's certain limitations that we have. So when things are limited and finite, it's interesting because there will be patterns. So when things are, so for example, when something is infinite, right, like the Big Bang, it will like constantly expand. But when you have limitations, like the speed of light is a limitation, or you have like a cube of space or something that is limited, you're going to have something that's finite. And so when things are finite, they're not going to be over expanding. They're going to have limitations. And because there's stuff that has limitations, you're also going to have patterns, because those limitations will have patterns based on geometry, space and time, like everything, the speed of light. There's always limitations. So when you understand that, realize that because everything is finite, there's going to be patterns, just like mathematics. So usually they talk about people who understand this type of stuff as architects, because they understand the universe and the structure of it. So because everything is finite, you're going to have patterns, because everything's mathematically made. So when you realize that, history will repeat itself. If it's not learned, and that's why people can understand history, will understand how things will be in the future. A great example of this is, for example, I was watching a child. It was maybe like a Gen Z, and they were talking about, oh, wouldn't it be great if we can put music on our profile, just like we did on MySpace. And the reason why they thought about that is because it's a cycle. They came up with an idea again. But this is essential why people need to learn history, because when you understand history, you understand, just like understanding your shadow, and just like wisdom, understanding your heart and your consciousness. By understanding history, you will not make things happen again, because things are finite. You understand history, you understand, oh, things don't happen, it's going to happen again. For that child who did not understand that about MySpace having music on their profile, if they understood the history of social media, they wouldn't even make that suggestion, because they know it. So this is why it's essential to understand history, and that's why we should understand history. And also that's why a lot of politicians don't want you to understand history, because they're using the same mechanism and the same social structuring of society all over again. So a lot of stuff that's happening today has happened in history, either with African Americans or either with Native Americans, and that's why they do not want you to understand history, because there are patterns and things will happen again. So that's why a lot of times when people talk about the Bible, they say, oh, the Bible is written for today. In reality, it's just history repeating itself. So understand history, study it, learn it, and see if anything in history, the patterns in history, could be applied for today.